Hello, welcome to the Podcast Engineering Show. My name is Chris Curran. Every week on this show, we bring you podcast production techniques on a silver platter. We alternate every week between interviews with podcast producers and engineers and daily goody episodes like this one, where I'm going to talk to you about 10 to 12 of the daily goody blog posts that I write every day, or almost every day nowadays. And you can sign up to receive these daily goodies in your email, either daily or as a weekly roundup. And you can sign up at podcastengineeringschool.com. Before we get to our daily goodies, a couple quick announcements. The next semester of Podcast Engineering School starts September 15th, which is like less than 2 weeks away. And the next semester after that starts in January of 2021. Another announcement, Isotope just released RX8, which looks really awesome. There's a spectral recovery module, which seems really awesome. We'll talk more about this in the future. And the third announcement is that I'm going to be coming out with a smaller course very soon. It's for independent podcast editors and producers who want to get more clients, get some new clients, charge higher rates, build your editing business, your production business. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be much smaller than the regular Podcast Engineering School program. So anyway, that'll be coming soon. So keep your eyes and ears open. All right, well, let's get into these daily goodies. The first one is from June 19th. Oh, it's this one. Okay, the title is Beware of this nonsensical Squadcast feature every time a participant drops off a session. Yeah, so Squadcast has this feature, and by the way, feature is in quotes. There's a feature that if you're recording with Squadcast with several other people, or even one other person, right? If one person drops off the session because their internet connection, goes down, and they drop out of the session, Squadcast stops recording everyone. It just stops everything, stops recording everyone. And this is really, really annoying because let's say there's 4 people on a call in Squadcast and the recording's going on. And let's say there's a person who's not even talking and they drop off the session because of a bad internet connection. And the other 3 people keep on talking. Well, guess what? Squadcast is not going to be recording those 3 other people as they keep talking. It really doesn't make any sense. I actually asked Squadcast about this, and they said the response was something like, well, we want to give control to the podcasters or something like that, which was a reply that made even less sense than this quote-unquote feature. So here's the thing. Just be aware. Be aware if you're using Squadcast, you just got to watch the Squadcast screen the whole time just to make sure to make sure you're still recording. And if anyone drops off, just be aware that you're going to have to stop everyone. Okay, hold on a second, everybody. I got to restart the recording. You're going to have to do that kind of stuff. It's really, I just don't understand it. And yeah, okay. And a couple people commented on this daily goodie post. But by the way, I start out this daily goodie saying how much I love Squadcast and that it is probably the best option for high quality recordings over the internet. And I like the Squadcast owners and everyone on the Squadcast team. I'm friends with them. They're all good people. So I'm not bashing Squadcast, but this little quote unquote feature is, in my opinion, terrible, and they should fix it. What should happen is, similar to what Zencastr does, which they don't do anything. Meaning if someone drops off the session, the recording keeps going. And if that person comes back to the session, then they continue being recorded. It should be seamless. And when you're hosting when you're conducting a podcast interview, you shouldn't have to worry about, are we recording now or not? Right? I mean, that's the last thing you want to focus on. So, all right, next daily goodie. Keyboard typing thumps coming through the mic. All right, you've all heard podcasters who are, they're talking and then you hear them typing and it's like these big loud thumps. Well, that happens because they're using a desk-based microphone like a Blue Yeti or others. There are many others, actually. And yeah, the Blue Yeti, for instance, if you put the Blue Yeti on your desk and you type, it'll pick up all those thumps. So, and I don't want to make this all about the Blue Yeti. The point is, if you have any microphone that's sitting on the desk, you have to be aware whether the keyboard typing thumps are coming through the mic. And even if you put your hand down on the desk, like I'll do it right now. I just put my hand down on the desk. If I was recording with the Blue Yeti, you would hear a huge low frequency thump. It would be very annoying. So just be aware of keyboard thumps and other desk-based thumps coming through the recording if you're using a desk-based microphone. Or if one of your clients is using a desk-based microphone. Okay, next daily goodie. Riverside.fm. Have you heard of Riverside.fm? Riverside.fm records audio and video locally for each participant. So Riverside.fm, it's a newer platform that's kind of like Zencastr and Squadcast, but they actually can record the video as well. And I know Zencastr is in beta with their video recording system. I just got an email a couple days ago, actually, that the beta is ready. The beta for the video recording with Zencastr is ready. Haven't tried it yet, but I will be trying it. But Riverside.fm does something similar. I got to have a phone call with one of the creators of Riverside.fm, and I got to poke around in there a little bit. Looks interesting. I did not get to try it out yet or use it. I just haven't had the chance or the need. So I know other people have tried it, like Matthew Passy has tried it. He says it's pretty good, but he admits that they're still working out some kinks and all that. So anyway, keep Riverside.fm in mind and maybe check it out if you want to. Looks pretty interesting. Next daily goodie. Avoid constantly saying mm-hmm or uh-huh. This is something that I personally can't stand, is when a podcast host is interviewing the guest and the guest will be talking. The guest will be answering a question and they'll be talking. And every 5 or 6 seconds, the host will be like, mm-hmm, uh-huh, oh, uh-huh, oh, mm-hmm, uh-huh, mm-hmm. And to me, it's just annoying. And it's also unprofessional, in my opinion. And I know some people like to give those verbal cues. I mean, my wife, is from India, and I know in that Indian culture, they do this. This is just part of their talking. Like they just, like it's just part of the culture, to a large degree. But when you're on a podcast, you don't have to do that. And the worst part is, here's the biggest danger in doing this, is sometimes when you're connected with someone, when you're connected with your guest over the internet, every time you say, mm-hmm, their audio might get ducked. It might sort of mute for a quick second and come back, because some of these platforms like Skype or Zoom or even Squadcast or Zencastr, if you're not using their echo cancellation, or if you are using their echo cancellation, it'll do that. So you can actually really mess up the audio. You can mess up your guest's audio by saying mm-hmm, uh-huh the whole time. So anyway, it's just a verbal crutch. And, I get that people, you want to be empathetic and you want your guests to know that you're listening and you're really interested. But it's actually not necessary, And one comment on that post, wait, let me go back to that post. One comment was from Mike Thomas, where he says this is where a video feed comes in handy, so you can give visual encouragement. So that's another option, right? If you're on video, you could be nodding your head the whole time. And even if you're using Squadcast, there's video, but you're not recording the video, right? All right, anyway, you guys get the point. All right, next daily goodie. Finishing a mix the next day if your ears are getting too fatigued. Yeah, if you've had a long day producing audio, and let's say you're mixing an episode, you're mixing and editing a podcast episode, and you're close to being done, but it's been a long day and you're not sure, you're kind of adjusting the levels and tweaking the EQ maybe slightly. One thing you can do is basically finish everything, finish the mix, but don't render it. And then the next day, first thing, just pull up the whole mix and just spot check it and see if it's good. Maybe make a couple tweaks and then render that mix. So, because the next morning, your ears will be fresh and you'll be able to judge and decide on the mixing aspects of it with levels and EQ and stuff. You'll be able to decide those things more accurately. And yeah, so anyway, that's one trick to finish the mix the next morning if your ears are getting fatigued. Next daily goodie. Do you leave any blank space at the end of episodes? Right? Do you just immediately stop the episode after the last word? Done? Or do you leave a couple seconds? Most of my clients end their episodes with music, so I fade out the music and then I don't leave any blank space at the end, but the fade, it's nice. It's a nice slow fade. So it kind of slow fades and then it just stops. Mike Thomas says, as my music fades and the call to action finishes, I end with thank you for listening. Yeah. And Steve Stewart, he had an interesting take on this. He commented on the post here, the Daily Goody post on the website. He said, I asked the same question in the Podcast Editors Club a few weeks ago. And by the way, if you're producing or if you're a podcaster or producing podcasts for other people, you need to be in the Podcast Editors Club. That's the one place, that's the one community for people who are editing and producing podcasts. It's great. Continuing with what Steve wrote here, it seems very few people have thought about it, but I think about it all the time. I like at least 1 second of silence after all is said and done. However, if the length is close to the minute mark, such as 38:57, then I'll extend the silence so it becomes 39 minutes even. Or if the file is 2340, then I'll extend it to 2345. I rarely extend silence more than 5 seconds. I feel that would just make listeners mad. Does it make any difference that I make the file lengths end in an even number or some clever combination? Probably not, but it's another way I can put my signature on the file. All right, so that's what Steve Stewart wrote, and I would say, I don't think that's necessary, like to hit, to go to the next even, minute number. I don't think that's necessary. I think if you're going to leave a second or two of silence, then just leave a second or two, whatever. But there's nothing wrong with what Steve's doing. So anyway, if you do something interesting, go to the Daily Goody post and comment on it. Next Daily Goody, the Waves WLM Plus loudness meter. All right, so this is a loudness meter plugin from Waves. The Waves WLM Plus loudness meter. I haven't used this plugin because I set my final loudness of episodes using Isotope RX7. Well, and now I'm using RX8. Well, I haven't actually used it yet. I bought it. I think I bought it earlier today. And I quickly tried a couple of the new modules. I didn't try them. I just kind of looked at them. But I haven't actually used RX8 yet. But anyway, I set my loudness with Isotope RX because you can do it perfectly, right? You tell RX, I want it at minus 16.0 LUFS. And boom, it's minus 16.0. This Waves WLM Plus loudness meter plugin that I'm talking about here, it doesn't scan the whole file and then give you the average loudness. It's like a real-time meter. So you have to play the audio and it'll show on the screen the loudness at that particular time. So it does help in sort of getting a handle on your loudness, but for me, it's not precise enough. I don't like setting my loudness by eye or by ear, right? Because I don't want my episodes to vary that much. One day you might think, oh, this is fine. The next day it might be a couple LUFs louder. And again, it's not a big deal. It's not going to really affect the listener very much. But as an engineer, I like to be precise. So these loudness meters that you can look at with your eye and sort of, how does it feel? Does it look loud enough? I don't know. It looks okay. I don't prefer doing that. I prefer to be a little more precise. But anyway, I've heard other people use the Waves WLM loudness meter plugin, and they like it. Okay, the next Daily Goody is NPR's signature sound. Yeah, this is an article from a few years back that it's an article titled "A Top Audio Engineer Explains NPR's Signature Sound." And this is actually the second to last daily goodie we're going to cover today. Anyway, I linked to this article on current.org, and it's kind of interesting. They talk about that they use, Neumann U87s. That's their standard studio microphone. And they use the bass roll-off feature on the 87s. And they actually talk about the bass roll-off for they spent quite a bit of time on this, but it's interesting. And then they talk about RE20s, and they roll off those too. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's how radio might do it, just to roll off everything, which, okay, it works. I guess it works for them. For me, though, I usually prefer not to roll off on the mic itself, because I'll do that in post if I need to, right? Because the bass roll-off switch on a microphone is set to a certain frequency. So it's either on or off. It's either rolling off from X hertz and below, or it's not rolling off anything. I don't typically prefer to use the switch on the mic. I prefer to do it in post, where I can adjust. I can roll it off in post just as easy, but then I can fine-tune adjust it if I need to. So anyway, this article, it's kind of interesting. The engineer from NPR, his name is Sean Fox. He's a senior director of audio engineering at NPR. And this guy, Adam, is interviewing him. It's kind of interesting. So check the Daily Goodie. I just thought of Bandrew. When I said check, because I thought, check the doobly-doo to see what I diddly did. That's Bandrew's line. Hi, Bandrew. Can I borrow your U67? I mean, let's move on to the next Daily Goodie, which is, this is the last one we're going to cover today. And it's actually a video that I posted of me doing post-production on an episode of this show. Okay, Dan Hughley from Focusrite was on episode 186 of this show, and I did a live stream. I streamed to Twitch and YouTube, I think. And I did my entire post-production for the entire episode live. And then obviously it's up there. You can watch the replay. So I actually linked to that video in this post. Yeah, so if you want to see how I, do my post-production, you can check out that video. And don't forget, Dan Hughley also is involved in the Johnny podcast. So if you haven't heard or subscribed to the Johnny podcast, that's one you can't miss. I think he's going to be starting a new season of that at some point. He did a whole bunch of episodes. I think it was kind of like a first season. Anyway, that's the last Daily Goodie that we're going to cover in this episode. I want to remind you can receive these Daily Goodies in your email either every day or as a weekly roundup. And you can sign up at podcastengineeringschool.com. And when you sign up, you can choose whether you want it daily or as a weekly roundup and all that. And you can unsubscribe at any time and all that. But I think I've been averaging about 3 per week these days. So usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then Thursday is the day that my audio episodes come out. This podcast, right? The Podcast Engineering Show. So, all right. Well, I'm excited for the new course that I'm planning. And I'm planning a bunch more new courses as well. I'm excited to keep trying RX8. And Podcast Engineering School starts in less than 2 weeks. So there's still time to get in. And the next semester starts in January of 2021. So, which seems like it's far away, but it's already September. Remember? Feels like it was just March and we all just started staying home. All right, maybe not. We've had a whole summer, but well, thank you for listening. If you need any help with anything related to your audio production, please email me and ask me. Just go to the website, podcastengineeringschool.com, and there's a contact us page. Just fill out the form. It's just send me a note and click submit, and I'll get it and I'll reply. Don't forget, because I know, day to day, you don't remember the resources you have at your disposal, but I am one of those resources that is at your disposal. So email me if you want to. And actually, we have not been doing any live streams in the Podcasters Lounge. Remember the Podcasters Lounge? Well, we haven't done live streams for about 2 months. I think it's about 2 months. But I actually have a couple ideas that I want to stream. So we'll probably do a couple streams in September. I don't know if we're going to do every week like we used to do in the Podcasters Lounge, which, by the way, is a Facebook group too if you want to go join the Facebook group. But anyway, I have a couple cool ideas for the lounge for live streams. So anyway, hope you all are doing well. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.